So the FM22 Beta is out and we've got a new series starting on the channel. If we're meeting for the first time, if at any point during this video you want to become a subscriber, well, you're a very generous person and welcome to the club. And whether you're new or an existing viewer, if you want to hit the like button at any point during this video, it would be warmly appreciated. But let's explain the concept behind Beta Than Arteta. Well, I'm using the beta to prep for my main save for FM22, which is going to be a little bit of a challenge. I won't say too much about it yet, but as people that have watched this channel before will testify, I have a penchant for being sacked in Football Manager, and I'm going to need to be at my best if I'm going to make my FM22 main save a long-term adventure. So during the beta, I'm going to be trying to test out and perfect some tactics in FM22. I'm going to be going up against some of the world's top managers to see who can achieve the most points during a season of FM22. We're starting in the Premier League and we're going up against Arsenal's Mikel Arteta. So here are the rules of the contest. It's the opening weekend of the Premier League season. Arsenal are in action against Brighton. We're going to play forward a couple of hours and see how Arteta gets on in that first game. But more importantly, we're going to be looking at the tactical system that Arteta employs. We're then going to play through the season, see how many points Arteta wins with Arsenal, and then we're up. But the caveat is, whatever system Arteta is playing for Arsenal, we've got to design a tactic using a completely different formation. The winner is going to be the manager that accumulates the most points. Without further ado, let's see how Arsenal get on in this opening encounter. So Arteta's Arsenal started pretty strongly, a 3-0 win against Brighton. Martin Odegaard getting 2 of the goals, although the XGs were pretty similar and 2 of Arsenal goals did come pretty late on in the game. But we're here to check out the tactical instructions. Arteta setting them up using the darling formation of FM21 4-2-3-1. I'm going to prophesise that this is going to be the tactical setup he's going to use for the season, and we're going to sim ahead and see how he does. He also looks like he's been doing a little bit of cheeky business in the transfer window. He's brought in a new player, Federico Bernardeschi from Juventus, so he's got a bit of backup over on the right wing. We're going to go and design a tactic now that's going to be different for the 4-2-3-1, and we might even make a signing or two ourselves. So Arteta's Arsenal have reached the final weekend of the season. They've got a home game against Wolves. They're currently in 5th place, but will they pick up another 3 points today? And how many points will that leave them on for the season? Let's play forward and find out. So Arsenal won that final game of the season 3-1. Another pretty comfortable win. It lifted them into the Champions League. They finished on 63 points, and that becomes our target before we take over and see how we get on. We just need to check what formations Arteta used for the majority of the season. Well, Arteta was nothing if not consistent. He's used the 4-2-3-1 in every single one of his 38 games in charge this season. However, he did lose plenty of those games. He's managed to finish 4th. He's got the team in to the Champions League. But they've lost 13 games this season, won 19. Not very many draws, and they finished on 63 points. I think we need to go away, assess the Arsenal squad, come up with a completely different formation and tactic of our own, and 63 points is the target. Okay, so the Arteta era is over. It's time for our stint in charge to begin. We've done a little bit of business. We've picked our formation. Before we show you it, let me just put the caveat in that finances were very tight. We managed to shift a couple out. Cedric, Kolasinac and Chambers were the 3 that left. It gave us a little bit of money to buy a couple of players, but we've not spent very much. We're going to go with a 5 at the back system, 3 across the midfield. We toyed with the idea of playing Odegaard as a 10, but we're going to try and play him as part of a flat midfield 3. Let's show you the players that we bought in. The first one was James Tarkowski. We got him for £10 million from Burnley. And I signed him because we were going to play 3 at the back because I thought Arteta's Arsenal looked a bit leaky with those 13 defeats. Try and shore things up and sign a centre-back a little bit different to the style that Arsenal have. Tarkowski is a bit more of a throwback to the Keown, the Adams, the Bold. Granted, he might not be an international calibre defender anymore, but I did think he might be a bit more of a rugged option for Arsenal at the back. In midfield, well, we've brought Aaron Ramsey back to Arsenal on loan. I'm hoping that even though he's 30 years old now, he can still make those bursting runs beyond the attackers and maybe score some goals for us this season. And because I wanted to make sure that we had some of the right characters in the dressing room for this season, I've made the surprising signing of Mark Noble. I don't know how popular a former West Ham captain will be at the Emirates Stadium, but I had Noble in last year's beta for West Ham, and the man was a magician. He might not be starting many games for Arsenal this season, but he's got a fabulous personality. He's still got some great attributes like his teamwork and his leadership skills as well. So he's going to be on the bench for us today. We're going to be playing a reasonably high line and a reasonably high line of engagement. Not too high because we don't have the paciest back three. I think our quickest player has got acceleration of 15. But we're going to try and press the opposition. We're going to try and get after them. We're going to try and harry them. We have this new little feature here called the trigger press rather than the pressing intensity. We've gone for more often, and we're also going to try and pass into space when we got the ball because we've got some quick players up front. We're going to try and keep possession of the ball, but play with a nice little bit of tempo, and we're going to see how our 5-3-2 gets on against Brighton today. Let's check it out. Okay, and we have got the game underway. I know it's only a short-term little foray with Arsenal, but the nerves are jangling. We're checking out the match engine, see how it plays. We're also checking out how well our tactic is going to do against Brighton today. Remember, Arteta won this game 3-0 on the opening day of the season with his 4-2-3-1. And pretty early on, we've got Maitland-Niles in round the back. And it's a perfect homecoming for Aaron Ramsey, like he's never been away. Ghosts into the box. 6th minute of the game. And I tell you what, that's not a bad start for the new loan signing. Maitland-Niles does well, pulls the ball back. And Ramsey's there. In fact, there were other plays that could have tucked that home if Ramsey didn't get on the end of it, but we've made a pretty solid start to this game. Brighton playing 5 at the back themselves, but they've got 2 number 10s playing rather than 2 strikers, so we're matching up pretty similarly, but our formation's doing the better work at the moment. Our XG is looking pretty encouraging. Going to be interesting to see how our back 3 fare as well. We've got the ball again. Lacazette, Ramsey, Tierney all linking up. I tell you what, Ramsey is looking like he might not be too bad a signing. Odegaard now, Lacazette, Aubameyang. We've got a player in again. Lacazette is trying to just tickle one towards goal. It's gone wide of the post and Cucurella gets it clear. And on the half an hour mark, we're into the highlights again. By the way, as well as our formation is playing as Aubameyang pops us 2-0 into the lead. How silky smooth is this match engine looking, by the way? The graphics look sharp. The gameplay looks very fluid. Huge improvements to the attacking great gameplay for FM21. And it looks like they might have nudged it up another notch for FM22 because some of the chances being created here are very realistic. And we are already 2-0 up and we're coming at them again, you know. And Aaron Ramsey is now on a hat-trick because he's picked the ball up 22 yards from goal. And he has sent an absolute missile of an effort past the Brighton keeper. And we've already matched Mikel Arteta's result in the opening game of the season. Inside 33 minutes, I think we might go on to get a point out of this game. The way that we are playing, I'll take 3-0 at half-time, by the way, but we're into the highlights again. It's Lamptey. It's Dunk. Another player who he's not a very Arsenal kind of centre-back, but I did have a little look at him when I was making my defensive signings, but He was far too expensive, and we'd already given Brighton £50 million. For Ben White, they wanted something similar for Dunk. 40 minutes on the clock, Aubameyang stretching his legs. We're playing him as a pressing forward on an attack duty. And I think, Ramsey might just have gone down and won a penalty. Still a little bit of time to go before half-time. Do we have VAR and the agonising wait that we had in FM21? We don't. It's a bit quicker. It's snappier. Penalty awarded. Ramsey's on the hat-trick. 3 goals for Aaron Ramsey. The Welshman is having a wizard of a second debut for Arsenal. He's been away for 2 seasons? 3 seasons? We've brought him back in on loan, and he has got a hat-trick in the first 41 minutes. The opening day of the season, and whisper it quietly, but look at that table. Arsenal are top. We're going to go and do battle with a half-time team talk, and we're going to see how this game rounds off. Okay, we are back underway for the second half. We are 4-0 up tentatively. I'm going to say we might just win this game. We might be able to rest a few players and bring some subs on as well, including Mark Noble potentially making a debut for Arsenal. Not the kind of thing you're likely to see in real life, but with his personality, I thought he might be just the kind of character Arsenal need for our season with them. I'd also like to keep a clean sheet as well. And with 60 minutes on the clock, I think it's time to test out these substitutes. So I think Mark Noble might just be the player that we are going to bring on. And I think Thomas Partey is the player that's going to depart. We don't have the deepest of squads at Arsenal. I did look at getting another striker in. We almost did a deal to bring Anthony Martial in, but he chose to go to Chelsea instead for £28 million. That would have blown our entire budget, so maybe it was best that he went elsewhere, but we're going to bring him on now. I think we're going to do it for Lacazette. And maybe the other change we might make is a right back, and maybe try Tomiyasu out in place of Maitland-Niles. We've got 18 minutes to go. It's been a quiet second half, but we're into the game again, and these graphics do look nice, don't they? Lacazette, Ramsey, Aubameyang, great link-up play. We've just told Lacazette he's coming off. Just as well, because he's hit his shot wide. And I'm actually thinking that FM22 is looking rather nice. The graphics look very crisp, very sharp. We've not investigated too much whether the gameplay has changed around the training. We've not delved too much into the stats and the data section yet. All that will be explored in good time, but the game is looking pretty good, and so is our formation, by the way. Mikel Arteta got a 3-0 victory in his opening game. We've got a 4-0 victory, a hat-trick for one of the players we've brought into the clubs. Well, now it's time to fast forward to the last game of the season and see whether this tactic performs as well for the rest of the campaign. So our season at Arsenal is over after that 4-0 win on the opening day of the season. I was pretty confident that we might be able to give Mikel Arteta a run for his money. How has it gone? Not great at all, if I'm honest. We finished 7th when Arteta finished 4th. We got 55 points, 8 less than Arteta was able to manage. We mocked Arteta for losing 13 games when he was in charge. Well, we lost 11 ourselves. By the way, during February, the press was speculating that I was about to get sacked. If we have a look at our schedule, I think it was the draws later on in the season that have really scuppered our chances a little bit. We played our 5-3-2 wing-back system, but it didn't seem able to break teams down. Leicester was a 1-1 draw. Crystal Palace was a 1-1 draw. Southampton and Watford were the same scoreline as well. Against the bigger teams, well, it fared a little bit better. Draws against Liverpool and draws against Man United were pretty encouraging, but we went out of both of the cups fairly early. One to Chelsea, one to Spurs, and against some of the smaller teams in the division like Burnley, well, we weren't able to really make much of a dent. We've got some thinking to do as we go ahead into our next experiment, and let us know in the comments, by the way, which manager you think we should go head-to-head with next. I'm feeling like after taking on Mikel Arteta, the next time we take on a manager, it might need to be one who's in charge of a slightly lower club. If you've got any ideas, throw them in the comments below and we'll see you soon as we take on another manager to see who fares better.